Yeah, so we can now write something brief about the present value of the differential annuities. So from the previous discussion, we had already discussed about the annuity, and now sometimes cash flows can be the same for a given period of time, then they change, but after they have changed, they also become constant for another given period of time. So that is normally what we refer to as the differential annuities. So we can summarize that this is where cash flows remain constant. It is where cash flows remains constant. Cash flows remains constant for a given period of time. They remain constant for a given period of time, and then they change, and then they change, and then they change. However, after they change, they also remain constant. However, after they change, they also remain constant. They also remain constant for another given period of time. However, after they change, they also remain constant for another given period of time. For another given period of time. So that's now what we mean by the present value of differential annuities. The cash flows are the same for a given period of time. Then they change. But after they change, they also remain constant for another given period of time. So now I will give you an illustration on that. We can now have an illustration on that area. So on the illustration, we can summarize that. Consider a 5-year project. Consider a 5-year project which is expected to generate the following cash flows. Consider a 5-year project which is expected to generate the following cash flows. Consider a 5-year project which is expected to generate the following cash flows. To generate the following cash flows. So we can be having the year, and also the cash flows. So year one. So year one, cash flows are 60,000. Then year two, cash flows are 50,000. Then year three, cash flows are 30,000. Year four, cash flows are also 30,000. Year five, also 30,000. Are also 30,000. Then another paragraph, we summarize that if the cost of capital is 12%, if the cost of capital is 12%, determine the present value of these cash flows. If the cost of capital is 12%, determine the present value of these cash flows. If the cost of capital is 12%, determine the present value of these cash flows. So I want us now to answer that part of the question, whereby first I will use the table which is not for the annuity. Then after that, I will repeat the same now when there is annuity, because year 3 up to year 5, those cash flows are annuities. Those cash flows are simply annuities. So what we can do now, we can have the year, then cash flows, then present value interest factor, present value interest factor, 12% each year, so that we can now have the present value like that. So there is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, up to year 5. So year 1, it is 60,000. Year 2, it is 50,000. Year 3, it is 30,000. Year 4, it's 30,000. Year 5, it is 30,000. So I want us to use the other table, which is not the annuity. I would like us to use the other table, which is not the annuity. I would like us to use the other table, which is not the annuity table. So 12% in year 1 is the same as 0.8. 0.89. 0.899. Then year 2 should be 0.79. 0.79. 0.7972. Then year 3, it should be 0.7. 0.7118. Year 4, it is 0.6. 0.63. And finally, it should be 0.5674. 0.5674. So what you do, you multiply this by this, you get the value. You also multiply this by this, you get the value. Also this by that, you get the value. Then you will add them together. Then you will add them together in that order. So that is the illustration. Now this is the working part. So you want to get a present value for it. No.
This is the differential.
Yeah, but you have written some short notes of that. Notes of around 3 lines. So we are getting a total of, when you add them, you are getting a total of which figure? Someone who has added anyone who has added, you give me the figure. So I've seen a value of 150. I've seen a value of 150, 875. Then I would also like you to add these last three separately. Also add those last three separately before I explain why we should use the first table and also how to use the second table. So also add those last three separately. Also add those last three separately. Add the last three separately so that we can now distinguish between the two tables. So get the total for the last three. The last three should give us 57, 441 like that. Yeah, so anyone online who has added the last three? Anyone who have added the last three separately? Nasema 57, 441. Yeah, so that's the correct figure. So there is something I wanted to show you why we have added those three separately. Because year 3, year 4, and year 5, those cash flows are the same. When cash flows are the same, we normally refer to them as annuities. When cash flows are the same, we normally refer to them as annuities. So I want us to go back to the two tables. So this one was the first table, the one for the single period. But I would like you to add this figure and this figure together and see what you get. So add them on your calculator. The one for year 1 and the year 2. So all of you, I want us to understand the two tables. So can you add year 1 and the year 2? This one here. And see what figure do you get.
93, 40.
Add this one and this one. When you add 0.8929 plus 0.7972. All of you confirm. There is something I want you to understand between the two tables. So when you add, what are you getting? 1.690. Yeah, online confirm the total. It is for your benefit. I want you to understand how the two tables are different. I would like you to understand why the two tables are different and when are you meant to use it. So you are getting 0.6901. I want you to check in the other table. Check in the other table. I want you to check in the other table 12% in year 2 and confirm which figure is there. Just check in the other table, the one for the annuity, and confirm when you add what figure is there in year 2. Just check in the other table and see what is there. Check in the other table. Check what is 12% in year 2. So it is the same figure that you have added, isn't it? Yeah. Also on that figure that you have on your calculator, I would also like you to add the 0.7118. Your figure on your calculator. The figure that you had on your calculator, also add 0.7118 and see the figure you'll be getting. Then compare that figure that you are getting against the one in the other table in year 3. Against the annuity table in year 3. So I hope you can see that they are the same. Is it the same as the one in the other table for the annuity? Is a difference of one. So what I'm simply trying to explain is that the figures in the annuity table are accumulated total of this other table. The figures in the annuity table are accumulated total for this other table. I hope it is clear to everyone up to that point. Now, before I explain, when do you use the first table and when do you use the second table? So are you able to notice that the figures in the annuity table are accumulative total for the other table? I hope all of you are able to note that. The figure in the annuity table are the total for the other table. Are you able to notice that? Those who are online, are you able to see that? Those who are online, are you able to notice that the figures in the annuity table are accumulated total for the other table? Yeah, so that is now what I wanted you to know, that the figures in the annuity table are accumulated total of the other table. So when cash flows are different, you see this one and this one is different. And also now this one is different. When cash flows are not the same, I advise you, we normally use this first table, the one which is not annuity. But when cash flows are the same, like now, year 3, year 4, and year 5, I will advise you, we use the annuity table. So I want to show you how to use that annuity table to get the same, because finally the figure will be the same. Whether you use the first table or the second table, the figure will be the same. The only thing is the condition under which I want you to know how to apply it. So year 3 up to year 5, they are the same. Year 3 up to year 5, they are the same. So I want to show you how to use the second table now to get the same figure for year 3 up to year 5. From year 3 up to year 5. So year 3, so just a continuation, or I'm only confirming how to get for year 3 up to year 5, because they are the same. Year 3 up to year 5, those cash flows are the same. So you are normally advised to use the annuity table. You are normally advised to use the annuity table. So it will be annuity in the brackets of present value interest factor for the annuity, 12% in year 5. But we want from year 3 up to year 5. But I've said that the figures in the second table are accumulated total for the first table. The figures in this annuity table is the cumulative. So when I'm checking in year 5, it has included year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5 of the first table. But now I only want between year 3 up to year 5. That means that I get now the one for year 5, then I subtract the one for year 2, because it is already included in that part of year 5. So now our annuity is 30,000. Our annuity is 30,000. So I want you to check in that annuity table. I would like you to check in the annuity table. Confirm in that table what is 12% in year 5. Confirm in that table what is 12% in year 5. 3.6. 48. Then also confirm what is there in year 2. 1.69. 0.1. So get that computation and see what you will get from there. Get that computation and see what you get from that level. It is the same figure. Yeah, so when cash flows are the same, like now the way it is in year 3 up to year 5, I would be advising you use the annuity table. But you have seen the format. Yeah, assuming it was from year 3 up to year 20. So you see, it will take you a lot of time. If you use the first table, it will still give you the same answer. But now it will take you a lot of time writing year 3 separately up to year 20 separately. So the easiest now, take the one for year 20 minus the one for year 2. So that now you have between year 3 up to year 20 in a shorter format in that manner. So they will give you the same. But now the concept is that we want to minimize the timing, because if it was 20 years and it's from year 3 up to year 2, it's the same. When you do each separately, it will take you a lot of time. So the easiest is now for you to arrange it in that order. So now I hope someone was asking, when do we use the first table or when do we use the second table? I hope it is now clear to everyone. I hope it is now clear to everyone up to that level. Before now, we check another question. So let us now get another question. So this one, it is still not in your table, in your past papers. We can summarize it down and see what we can get from it. So let us write that. Let us have another illustration that consider a project. Consider a project. Consider a project which is expected to generate the following cash flows. Consider a project which is expected to generate the following cash flows. Consider a project which is expected to generate the following cash flows, which is expected to generate the following cash flows. So you can also now simplify it by having the column for the year and also for the cash flows. Column for the year and also the cash flows. So the first one is from year 1 to year 4. Year 1 to year 4, the cash flows are meant to be 30,000. The next one is meant to be year 5 to year 9. Year 5 to year 9, those cash flows are 50,000. Then there is year 10 up to infinity. So year 10 up to infinity, it is 20,000. Is 20. So from year 10 up to infinity, we have it as 20,000. Then now you can add there another paragraph by summarizing that if the discounting rate is 10%, if the discounting rate is 10%, determine the maximum price. Determine the maximum price that the company will be willing to pay if the discounting rate is 10%. Determine the maximum price that the company will be willing to pay. That the company will be willing to pay in order to acquire the project. Determine the maximum price that the company is willing to pay. The company will be willing to pay in order to acquire the project. So add there another paragraph by noting that the maximum price to pay will be equal to, the maximum price to pay will be equal to, the maximum price to pay will be equal to the present value will be equal to the present value of all the cash inflows. It will be equal to the present value of all the cash inflows. The present value of all the cash inflows to be generated by the project. Maximum price to pay will be equal to the present value of all the cash inflows to be generated by the project, to be generated by the project, to be generated by the project. So we want to see how to get the present value. So for this question, in year 1 up to year 4, they are annuity. Also year 5 to year 9, they are annuity. Then from year 10 up to infinity. So there's something we have discussed about infinity. So I want us now to know how it works. So what you do, start with having the column for the year. Then I will also have the column for the formula. I will also have the formula I will be able to use. Then after that, I will also be having to do the calculation. So I will do the calculation after we have created the formula from that. So we start off with year 1 up to year 4. So year 1 up to year 4, cash flows are the same. When cash flows are the same, we refer to them as annuity. So it will be annuity multiplied by present value interest factor for the annuity at the bare cost of capital of what percent? 10%. Yeah, so 10% for 4 years. So from year 1 up to year 4, it is the same. So my annuity is the 30,000. My annuity is the 30,000. So I would like you to confirm in that second table. That is the annuity table. What is there as 10% in year 4? 3.1699. So when you multiply, you now get the value for that. $95,097. So that is now between year 1 up to year 4. Then we go to year 5 up to year 9. We go to year 5 up to year 9. So year 5 up to year 9, this will also be annuity. Then present value interest factor annuity. So we shall be having 10% in year 9. 10% in year 9. But we subtract the one for each year. Subtract the one for year 4. Subtract the one for year 4. So annuity is 50,000. So I would like you to confirm in the table what is 10% in year 9. 5.382. 5.382. 5.32. 5.3282. So the one for year 4, you already have it. It is 3.1699. So get the difference. Then also get the value for that. Who confirm vizuri? We check the figure that we created from the table, this one. This one should be
5.7.
5.7.
90. 5.7590.
So we can now confirm that. One 29. So that is from year 5 to year 9. Then the last one is from year 10 up to infinity. The last one is from year 10 up to infinity. So this will be annuity. Then present value of interest factor for the annuity. 10% up to infinity. Then we subtract present value of interest factor for the annuity. 10% in year 9. So up to infinity, it is not in the table. Up to infinity. I gave you a formula for the present value of the annuity in perpetuity. So in perpetuity is not there. We use 1 divided by R. We use 1 divided by R. So that means we take the 20,000. Where there is 10% up to infinity, it is 1 divided by R. R is that cost of capital, which is 10%. 10% the same as 0.1. Then now you subtract the 1 for year 9, which is 5.7590. So you get the figure. Then now we should be able to add them together. So get now that total. That's now the maximum price to pay. That now should give you the maximum price to pay, which will be able to give you the maximum price to pay. I'll give you the maximum price to pay. So we can now go to the past papers, check May 2018, question number 4, part D. Check May 2018, question number 4, part D. May 2018, question number 4, part D. So we go to May 2018. So check May 2018. There is a question number 4. There is a question number 4, part D. May 2018, Question number 4, part D, May 2018, question number 4D. So it should be on page 47. When you check page 47, there is a question for May 2018, question number 4, part D. That question 4, part D, it reads that Matter Limited is in the process of completing construction of a greenhouse. Construction of the greenhouse. The finance manager has estimated that the project useful life is 15 years and shall generate the following cash inflows. And shall generate the following cash inflows. So you can see year 1 up to year 5, the cash flows are 5 million. Year 6 to year 10, cash flows are 9 million. Then year 11 to 15, the cash flows are 4 million. So the required rate of return for the company is 10%. So now required total present value of the project. Total present value for the project. So we arrange it in the same manner. We arrange it in the same manner, then we come up with that. So for this other question, this last part, someone was asking explanation for this. This was from year 10 up to infinity. So up to infinity, it is not in the table. In your notes, there is somewhere we were able to write something about present value of the annuity in perpetuity. Present value for the annuity in perpetuity in your notes, I gave you something like the annuity multiplied by 1/n. So this part up to infinity, it is not in the table. So to get it, you simply take 1 divided by r. So that when it comes here, r is this discounting rate of 10%. So 10% is the same as 0.1. Now you compute it, then you get that particular total. So I would like us now to do that question. Let us now do this other question. We arrange it in this manner. Arrange it in this manner. So when you arrange it, there is year 1 up to year 5. Year 1 up to year 5. So year 1 up to year 5, it will simply be annuity multiplied by the present value interest factor for the annuity. 10% for 5 years. 10% for 5 years. So our annuity in that question is 5 million. Our annuity is 5 million. So check 10% in year 5. 10% in year 5 should be 3 point what?
790.
So 3.790. So that is now for that. Then there is year 6 to year 10. So even this one will be annuity. 10% in year 10. We subtract the one for each year. Year 5. So the annuity is meant to be 9,000. So you confirm what is there. What is there as 10%? 10% in year 10. It should be 6.1446. So we subtract the one for year 5, which you already have it, as 3.7908. So get the value from it. The next one is now meant to be from year 11 up to infinity. So So year 11 up to infinity. So we subtract the one for year 10. So that annuity is 4,000. So year 15, 10% in year 15.
7.606.
7.606. 61. So the one for year 10, you already have it. 6.1446. So you get those figures. So add them together. Online, you are getting 45,984.2. Those who are online, confirm the totals that you are coming up with. So we can now go to another question, September 2015, question 4, part A. September 2015. It was a pilot paper. So September 2015, a pilot paper. So we go to the question number 4. Question 4, part A. So it must be on page 71. So when you go to page 71, there is a question number 4, part A. There is a question number 4, part A on that page 71. So where they had said that A Limited is considering taking over B Limited. A Limited is considering taking over B Limited. The forecasted annual net operating cash flows to be generated by the target firm are given as follows. To be generated by the target firm are given as follows. So they gave you the year 1, 2, 3 to 7, year 8 to year 10, then 11 and above. They have given you those figures. So the firm's minimum required rate of return is 5% above the risk-free rate of return. The risk-free rate of return was given as what? 15%. So to get now the cost of capital or that discounting rate, you simply take 5 plus 15 because they have said that minimum required rate of return is 5% above the risk-free rate. Then the risk-free rate is given as what? 15%. So that's where you are to get the discounting rate or simply the cost of capital. So that discounting rate or simply the cost of capital, that discounting rate or or simply the cost of capital. So now our cost of capital cost of capital 5 plus 15 going to be 20. So we shall be using 20% as now our discounting rate. We shall be using 20% as now our discounting rate. Then so we arrange it in the same way. So we start off with year 1. So there are 3 zeros at the top. So we'll be using the 5,000, like the other question. They have said 5 millions. Yeah, so I have 3 zeros at the top. So this one we multiply by the present value interest factor, 20% in year 1. So this one is not the same. You see, year 1 and year 2, they are not the same. So we use the first table. We shall be up, even though year 1 for both tables is the same. Year 1 for both tables is the same. So what is there as 20% in year 1? .8. So it gets 0.8. So that is now what we have for year 1. Then we go to year 2. Year 2, it is 8 millions. So year 2 also, the cash flows is not the same as the other. So we still use the first table. We shall still use the first table. So what is 20% in year 2 in the first table? So confirm and see what you get from there. 0.6944. So year 1 and year 2, those cash flows are not the same. That's why I'm using the first table. But when it comes to year 3 to year 7, year 3 to year 7, cash flows will be the same. So it will be annuity, then present value interest factor for the annuity, 20% in year 7, we minus present value interest factor for the annuity. So we might 20% in which year? Year 2. So our annuity is 10 millions. Our annuity is 10 million. So now we use purely the second table. We use purely the second table. So 20% in year 7. $3.6. Still in the same table, confirm in year 2. So we 1 point what? 527. 78. Yeah, so that's now how we go about them. Then I would like you to do the same for year 8 up to year 10, and also year 11 up to infinity. and above it is the same as infinity. So follow that format from the way I've done the other question, then finish off that part. Then you will get the total. After that, we should come out with the totals.
Nini? Sema Bwana asifiwe.
So we are getting it here. The total 48, 998.2. So online, what are we coming up as the total? So online, you let me know the total. Someone to give me the total online. So 48,998.2. Yeah. So that is the correct figure. So far, now I hope you know how to use the table. You now know how to use those tables. So going forward, most of the topics we shall be covering, we shall be using those tables. But before we conclude that topic for the concept of the time value of money, let us also have a brief subtopic as loan repayment schedule. We can now have a subtopic as subtopic as the loan repayment schedule. Loan repayment. Repayment schedule. So it is still part of the concept of the time value of money. So we shall just be checking when you borrow, there is a particular pattern that you should adopt when you are repaying back the amount borrowed. So we want to know how to prepare that schedule. But first, we summarize that it shows the amount borrowed. It shows the amount borrowed, comma, the installment payment, comma, the interest for each period, comma, the principal amount, and the outstanding balance, at the end of each period, outstanding balance at the end of each period. Then another paragraph is that the installment paid at the end of each period, represents the annuity. It represents the annuity, and it is computed as follows. It represents the annuity, and it is computed as follows. So, installment payment. So to calculate the installment payment will be given by amount borrowed. We divide by present value interest factor at R% in period N. So installment payment will be given by amount borrowed, we divide by present value interest factor of the annuity at R% in period N. Then another paragraph is that the installment payment has two components. Number one, principal amount. Number one is the principal amount. Number two will be the interest per period. Number two will be the interest per period. The interest per period. So that is what we should be able to have. So we can now get a question from your past papers to know how to prepare the loan repayment schedule. We can now get a question from your past papers to know how to prepare the loan repayment schedule. So the question I would like us to use so it should be December 2021. December 2021, question 4, part B. It is for the exam. There were two December 2021, the one for the pilot and the one for the exam. So it starts from page 12. When you go to page 12, that's when we start. That's December 2021. But now the question is on page 15. The question is on page 15, where we want to get the question number 3, part B. 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 Check question number 3, part B. So that question 3, part B for December 2021. The question is about Siphon Limited borrowed 15 million shillings from Baraka Bank at an annual interest rate of 16% per annum, repayable in 4 equal annual installments at the end of each year. Installments at the end of each year. So required, prepare a loan amortization schedule for the company. They would like you to prepare the loan repayment or amortization schedule. So for you to prepare the loan repayment or amortization schedule, loan repayment or amortization schedule, you start off by calculating the installment payment. You start off by getting the installment payment. So installment payment is supposed to be given by divided by present value interest factor. And interest rate was given as 40%. It is 16% for how many periods? 4 periods. We say to be repaid in 4 equal annual installments. So amount borrowed in the question, amount borrowed in the question is 15 millions. Amount borrowed in the question is 15 millions. So now I would like you to check in that annuity table. Check in the annuity table what is there as 16% in year 4. 2.798. Get that installment payment. So come up with that particular installment payment. So get that particular installment payment. So get that particular installment payment. It's 5 million
360.
360.
588.
5. When you round off, it will be 580.
9.
589. So that is normally the starting point. You calculate the installment payment. After now you have done that installment payment, we now prepare the loan amortization schedule or loan repayment schedule. So now we go to the loan amortization schedule. The loan amortization schedule. The loan the loan amortization schedule. So in our loan amortization schedule, we shall be having the year. We shall be having the year, then amount at the start. Amount at the start. Then installment payment. Installment payment. Installment payment. Then interest. Interest at 16% annum. Finally, the principal amount. So we prepare our schedule in that order. We prepare our schedule in that order. Prepare our schedule in that order. So we start off with year one. We start off with year one. So amount at the start of year one is what you borrowed. The amount was 15 million. The amount at the start is what you borrowed. It is 15 million. So installment payment, we had seen it is 5,316,589. 589. Then now interest at 16% per annum. Interest at 16% per annum. So what will be 16% of 15 millions? It is 2,400,000. Exactly 400. So for us to get the principal, subtract interest from the installment. Subtract interest from the installment. So you subtract that principal from the amount at the start. You subtract this principal from the amount at the start. so that you get the balance at the end of period 1. Balance at the end of period 1 is the same as the balance at the start of period 2. So that balance should be how much?
12.
It is 12 millions.
39.
411. Yeah, so the balance at the end of period 1 is the same as the balance at the start of period 2. So installment payment always remain the same. Installment payment always remain the same. Then get 16% of 12, 039, 411. Also get 16% of 12, 039, 411. 16% of 12, 039, 411. So it is coming to it here.
16% of 12.
16% of this amount of this comes.
1,926.
1,926,306.
306.
Then also again subtract this from the installment to get the principal amount. Now subtract this from this figure to get amount at the start of year 3. 8 minutes. 605.
128.
Installment will remain. Installment remain. So interest also gets 16% at this figure at the start.
$1 million.
1 million.
376.
376.
820.
Then what should be the principal amount?
Then
993.
769.
769. Alright, so subtract minus from that to that, so that you get the amount at the start.
4 million.
It is 4 millions.
621.
821.
No, 621.
621.
359.
359. Installment remains. The installment always remains. So get the interest.
729. 470.
739, 470. So what should be there as the principal amount?
$4
million. The one 9. 83. It's almost 8. But that one's correct. So what we have there as the principal amount?
4 million.
4,620,000.
172.
But now, because there is no other, you just make it to be equal to this. The difference is too small. So that there is no balance remaining to go to year 5. Yeah, because the problem has been because of the rounding off. This figure we got in the table, it is rounded off to 4 decimal place. Even here figures will round off. That's why the both subtract this one and see that difference. That is there. The difference is very small. Yeah, so that's a very small amount from the 15 million. So in the last period, we just make it the same as the amount at the start, like that. Because the difference between what you will get when you subtract this from this is a very small figure. That figure, the difference is due to the rounding off. So that we don't have balance carried forward, because the loan has to be repaid within 4 years. So this last balance in the start of year 4 should be the same as the principal amount, so that you don't have any balance to be carried forward. So that you don't have any balance to be carried forward. So that is now all for that question. So when we meet, we shall do some other questions on the loan repayment schedule. Then we shall conclude it from there. So we can stop there for now. We can stop there for now. So when we meet, we shall do some other questions.